This video is in honor of everyone who had a difficult childhood. I'm going to read a comment from one of my videos, and he said it was okay that I read it in a video. He said, his name is Chief Exilian 1781. My mom was a sexual abuse survivor, and I didn't know. That's why I was born. But every time I tried to hug her or hold her hand when crossing the street, she would start slapping me and crying. The things she would say were very dark, and it breaks my heart. When I got older, about 8, she would scream her trauma at me while hitting me. She eventually went into a mental institution, and I went with my grandma, who was even more sadistic and abusive, and would just beat me for sport while giddy about it. When my mom got out, I lived with her again when I was 12. But then she started dating guys who beat her. We moved every time she dated a new person, about once per year. When I was young, every time I even started liking a girl, we would move towns. So I got used to being ripped away from people. Last guy she dated and broke up with when I was 16, she left me on the reservation from my dad's side, deceased, 60 miles away from the nearest town in the middle of winter. It had no utilities, and I cried myself to sleep, freezing every night, shivering until my calves cramped and my abs hurt, surviving on dry rolled oats and what I could forage, fish and berries, creek water. I never heard from her until I was 22. I always tried to see the good since I was born, and I forgive everything she did every step of the way because I was aware of her trauma. People now say I'm the happiest person they know and well-mannered, and I have nothing but nice things to say. I'm not masking it. I am genuinely happy all the time. People in my life let me know they appreciate me, which kind of hurts because I never felt deserving of appreciation. I am touch-starved and I want intimacy so badly, but I push people away out of fear of being abandoned worse than previous times. I'm 31 and never had a girlfriend. This comment was posted in Women in Sexless Marriages. If any of you wish to reply to him, you can do it here on that original one. You know, when I hear people talk about being abused, I first want to tell them that it was horrible. They didn't deserve that. It wasn't their fault. And then one thing that I often find is that people who are abused, or people are very protective of their parents. And I never hear these people being angry at their parents. So to me, I always want to have people get in touch with that anger if they never found it. And they haven't, but maybe repressing all that anger is what's keeping them from feeling safe to trust anyone, because anger is a natural, healthy response to when we're violated or mistreated. And we need to be in touch with that anger. Anger doesn't mean that we hit people, like that was abuse. Anger is a feeling that's like, ooh, it's not okay. We have to be in touch with that feeling so that we know when someone isn't right for us or someone is violating us. And when people have repressed their anger so much, and many people have, they're afraid of their anger because they were raised in families where anger meant aggression, violence, or they were punished for feeling anger, like it wasn't okay. We have to be in touch with our anger so that we can just say, stop, I'm not okay with this. You know, that's what healthy anger is. It's noticing, I'm not okay with this. And I think that if I don't know who this person is, but if I were talking to this person one-on-one, I would recommend getting in touch with his anger, because you're supposed to be angry when people mistreat you. Anger at his grandmother, instead of protecting them, maybe make a list. These are all the good qualities my mom had, and these are all the bad qualities my mom had. These are all the things, these are the parts of me that love her, and these are the parts of me that hate her. Okay, let's do some, like, break it down a little bit. Same with the grandma. Same with the dad who abandoned him. So to make a list, these are all the great things, and these are all the bad things. And allow yourself to have feelings about it. That's what I would say. And then I would also recommend finding a therapist that's specializes in reparenting, internal family systems, somatic experiencing, trauma work. Not a talk therapist. Not gonna resolve anything by just talking. I think in therapy, talking is good for setting the ground stage of what's going on. But to do healing, you got to go into your body. That's where these emotions and memories and beliefs are stored. You can do some cognitive behavioral therapy, like questioning your thoughts. That's really good too. And I'm not saying you need years of therapy. You might just want to go for a month or two, just to get into, because emotions are in the body. All those nights he cried himself to sleep freezing. Okay, and when people are abused, kids, they don't usually get angry at their parents. They try to protect them or rationalize it or protect them. Like he's protecting his mom. It broke his heart, and he's protecting her. And it's a beautiful thing that you love your mom, and definitely not telling you to hate your mom, but just to allow yourself to be angry at the treatment. That's what I'm saying. And all that abuse, like being crying yourself to sleep freezing. Okay, so 12-year-old boy, 16-year-old boy crying himself to sleep freezing. Okay, that alone would get CPS involved. Now CPS, sometimes you get into foster care, and those people are even worse. But, I mean, your parents were supposed to protect you. Your mom was supposed to protect you. Your dad was supposed to protect you. So the other thing I would say is getting in touch with your anger, and then also getting in touch with how it would have felt to have a parent who protected you, so that it becomes a familiar feeling of being loved. Like, if you never experienced being loved, it's going to be this new feeling. So it's like, okay, what if I had a parent who protected me? How would that have felt? So I like to go into the feeling space, because our feelings are the safest indicator of what's good for us, in my opinion. I'm really into the whole feeling stuff. And it makes sense. And then I would say, you know what? I don't blame you for pushing people away. It's okay. I would do that too, out of fear of being abandoned. Yes, that's totally fine. Just push people away for now. Allow yourself to feel touch-starved. Allow yourself to want intimacy. Be okay pushing people away. And just focus on what you want to do. I probably shouldn't give all this advice, but I would just say, all this is okay. Don't judge yourself for that. I really think that a lot of the healing would come from a good therapist, because a good therapist, not just a talk therapist who's going to make you just stay stuck in rehashing everything. A good therapist can be a bond, and is often a person's first experience of someone. You're paying them, but they're there for you. It's an ongoing relationship with someone that you can trust. And it's a professional relationship, so there's not like intimacy involved, but it's like, oh, this person's here for me every week. I can trust this person. I can learn to be vulnerable with this person. So it gives someone practice in being vulnerable, and someone who actually listens to you and kind of guides you. So that's a good thing. And learning like some different techniques. Oh, you mean like it's okay for me to be mad at people? You mean these people mistreated me? I didn't even know it. Sometimes they'll reframe things, they'll help you see things in a different way. And I also think it's important for people to accept where they are and not judge themselves. But I think a lot of people have trouble with their anger. They either think their anger gives them a right to bully and hit other people, or they think their anger is bad, so they repress it. So I'm really big on people getting comfortable with their anger. I'm really big into that. And then also when we're angry, how do we, okay, I'm angry, a boundary was violated in this moment. How do I want to reply to this person? And there a good practice is, okay, I'm really angry right now, but I'm not going to say anything till I calm down and figure out how I want to respond. So anger is like a very powerful emotion because it lets us know something's wrong here, but we also can't let it take us over and just become this big thing. And people have to be careful with anger because if people think that if they feed their anger, it'll let it out. Like, oh, I'm so angry. If I just yell at you, it'll all go away. But that's not how anger works. Because feeding it actually makes it into a fire. And it's a boundary violation. Because boundaries are, okay, my anger tells me that you violated my boundary. But just because I'm angry doesn't mean I can violate your boundary. It's a boundary violation to hit you, abuse you, and belittle you. And since I'm on this long video, one more thing I want to say, guys, never let a woman just talk a bunch of emotional stuff that you don't want to listen to. I think a lot of the guys are like, oh yeah, I gotta listen to my woman. No, you don't. No, you don't. You get to decide, and this is where anger comes in. You start to feel irritated. It's like, there's no reason your woman should come home from work and give you a 5 or 10 minute emotional dump of her day. It's bullshit. If that's what she has to do, she's got to figure her life out. It's like, you want to dump, go dump on your girlfriend. Because when you come home from work, wifey, I want you in a good mood. Because I'm in a good mood. So keep things on the up and up. Or, you want to complain, you got 30 seconds. Then we're going to go do something fun. So don't put up with emotional dumping, but you got to be in touch with your anger to know that your boundaries are violated or to sense that something is off. I do not think people can ever heal as long as they're not in touch with their anger. And another thing too, when I was coaching people, which I don't do anymore, but people are very protective of their parents. And I recently had to do this myself. I had to make a list because I was so protective of my mom. But because she's like she was the sweet codependent person. But my dad was nice to me, but he was mean to my brother and my sister. So my mom didn't protect them, and she should have. I was so mad at my dad for hitting my brother a couple times for no reason. But my mom allowed it. She didn't stop him. She didn't protect him. So that's misplaced anger. I couldn't see that until like a year ago when I was trying to differentiate from my parents. It's very important to see the flaws in our parents, not just the good and protecting them, but to see their flaws. And so many people want to protect their parents. That said, you can absolutely be there for your parents. I know I was talking to someone a few years ago who was sexually abused by his mom's boyfriend for many years, but he still loves his mom. It's been decades ago. He still provides for her, still wants to be there for her, and that's a beautiful thing that you should, if that's what you want to do. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm talking about emotionally disentangling. You do not have to let these people be in your life. You do not have to let these people live with you. You do not have to let these people dump their emotional stuff on you. You can send them money. You can support them financially if you want to. But I'm saying it's really important to emotionally disengage and not protect your abuser. Because as long as people protect their abuser or don't see this as an abuser, some people don't even see it's an abuser. This is someone I used to talk to, and she had a YouTube channel, and she talked on her YouTube channel about how she was always talking about how her dad was so bad. Her dad was so bad. And to her therapist, she was always talking about her dad. And then her therapist goes, let's talk about your mom. And immediately she's like, oh my God. And immediately she realized that she wasn't comfortable talking about her mom. She wasn't talking about her mom. That was a worse subject to talk about. Her mom was the worst subject to talk about because there was more pain there. So, like this person, I would also say, what about your dad? Let's hear about your dad who wasn't there for you, who abandoned you, that loser. You ever got mad at him? That's what I'm talking about. Like, who is the person which is the parent that we're blaming? Because the other parent had something to do with it too. And yeah, it's fine to be understanding. They have their trauma, that's fine, but that's spiritual bypassing. Because it's easy, when you go into all that anger, it can seem like a scary place to go because there could be so much hidden in there. There can be so much hidden in there that you had to suppress. Every time when I was a kid, I used to get angry at my parents all the time. And I think I'm a rarity in that way because I was loved by both of my parents, but I would also get mad at them. Like, my dad sucks right now. My mom really sucks. I would just get mad at them. Why do I have to do this thing? Why do I have to do that thing? Why are they having me do this? I can't wait till I'm an adult and I can leave. And I wasn't even beaten or abused. I'm like, they're telling me when to go to bed. They're telling me I got to do this. They're doing this. I can't wait till I'm an adult and no one tells me what to do. And that's kind of, you got to have a little bit of fire in you. And you got to find that fire in you that's like, no. And when I was working with my therapist, we did a few somatic exercises, and one was going back in time to something that I didn't like. And in that moment, she was like, well, what is it that you want to do right now, what you need right now? And I'm like, stop. And actually doing that, going back in time and saying stop and using my power like that was like such a game changer. When I came out of the session, I just felt so much more powerful. Because as kids, we're not allowed to say stop. But what if you could have just said stop even? And getting in touch with our own boundaries is a really important thing and in that, then there's safety to engage intimately with other people. So I think it's wise to not push ourselves to be intimate if it feels scary and to get get more grounded in ourselves, really. I think it's very sad that people are treated this way. When I read this last night, I was like, I have to read this so people understand how much pain there is in the world. Like those of us who were raised in loving, stable homes, it's shocking to hear these stories, of what other people have to go through, and that it's important to treat each other kindly and with compassion. So I did ask him if I could read this reply, and he said I'm fine with it. I've been watching advice videos to try and make sense of my life. If it can help anybody out there, I'm here for it. You do have good advice. Yeah, some of the stuff doesn't make sense other than, the thing about trauma is these people who abused him, he's right. They were survivors too. His mom was a sexual abuse survivor. She was in trauma herself. So I think that the way to stop all these cycles of trauma through the generations, someone has to break the cycle and heal it, and that's a beautiful thing that he's doing. So I would also end this by telling him what a beautiful soul he is, because he's breaking the cycle, and he's like in touch with his humanity, with his feelings and with his heart in a way that his parents were not, because they didn't stop the cycle. They just acted it out blindly, like hypnotically. And he's awake. He's acting out the cycle. He wants to love people. He wants to give to people. Like, he's powerful, but he's also very honest and vulnerable, saying that he's touch starved. And I bet he's a super hot guy. I bet he's going to be a great boyfriend because he's very introspective and he's trying to help himself. He is helping himself, like he's learning. So I think this is really good stuff. Anyway, if you guys want to leave him some good advice, and please remember to be kind in the comments, no you statements, no, just be respectful when you speak to people in the comments. By the way, when I read the comments, when other people, some people in the comments ridicule other people in the comments, those people are also removed from the channel. Like, you can't, it's not okay to ridicule me. It's not okay to ridicule other people who leave comments. Like, just be respectful to people, you know? Like this person, he's not saying one bad thing about his abusive parents. He's just trying to move forward in his life. He's a shining example of how to treat people, you know? Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video.